Hello good lifers, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about planting for pollinators. Pollinators are a really important part of gardening, and I've decided that I'm going to try and make our allotment this year as pollinator friendly as I can make it this year. We've also got a few different plants and things growing at home, so I'm hoping to take you back into our garden at the moment, which looks a little bit overrun by weeds, but I'll take you back into our garden and show you what we're doing to try and help attract pollinators. So if that's something that you're interested in, please stick around. So if we've not met before, my name is Nikki. I run Back to the Good Life with my husband G, and we are a channel all about growing our own food, learning to be self-sufficient and trying to live a more sustainable lifestyle. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, maybe you want to think about giving us a subscribe down below. So I want to think about growing lots of plants that are going to attract pollinators, because pollinators are really the unsung hero of the plant world. So today I want to have a look at planting some plants for pollinators. Pollinators are things like butterflies and bees and other pollinators that are attracted to our gardens. They're attracted by different smells, by different colours, and by all sorts of different plants and flowers that are in our garden. I've never normally been much of a flower gardener, but having learned a lot about pollinators and how important they are, and also how much in decline they are, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and do something to help, and that is try and transform our allotment into somewhere where there's lots and lots of wildflowers and lots of pollinator attracting flowers that are growing. But if you know anything about us by now, we are trying to grow our own food as well as our own medicine. We are trying to do as much natural remedies as possible. I'm trying to build up my apothecary. So what I'm hoping also, with a lot of the flowers and bits and pieces that we're going to be planting today, they're going to be edible and or medicinal. So for example, we're going to be planting out some of my calendula seeds that I've been growing for the last couple of weeks. They're not in flower yet, but they will be soon. Calendula is a really medicinal plant, so I'm happy to plant it out, and I'm happy for the pollinators to have some, and we'll have some as well. I've got a few different seeds that I'm going to be planting today. I've already got some that are growing, and I've already put them outside by the pond. I want to try and make the pond the most wildlife friendly pond I can possibly make it, because currently it looks a little bit like a, well, large puddle in the middle of my allotment really. And I have got a little fountain in there, but it's not working at the moment because it's a solar fountain and there's no sunshine currently. So what I've got is, I've got a couple of different seed packets here. I've got cosmos, pansies, cornflower and lemongrass in the seeds here. These are all edible as well, which is really quite useful. Lemongrass is an amazingly floral kind of herb that you add to things. I've also got a huge box of butterfly and bee seed shaker stuff. It says this does 50 meters squared, so I'll chuck it around the pond and see what happens. And I'm hoping that's going to attract lots and lots of wildlife. I've also got a large pile of herbs here, which I'm not going to plant into the ground, but I am going to start planting out into pots so that I can kind of put them in the ground. Things like mint, I don't want to put it in the ground because it will end up taking over everything. Or it will die, because everything that I tend to grow tends to die. I've also got a huge pack of herbs here. This is loads and loads of different herb seeds. I've got things like basil, coriander, marjoram, chives, cress, I'm trying to read my handwriting, oregano by the look of it. I'm not going to plant these out into the ground. These are going to go into seed trays, and they're going to go into pots. I'm probably not going to get to do that today, but we're going to have these planted, especially planted at home as well. Not only are herbs great for us because it means we've got bits and pieces to cook with, but again, their flowers later on in the season are really good for pollinators. So we want to try and keep them in the ground long enough so that the pollinators can enjoy them as well as us. So why is planting for pollinators important? In the last decade or so, the population of insects and pollinators has really been in decline, and we follow a lot of information about kind of sustainable gardening and sustainable farming, and regenerative farming as well, and every single time pollination is mentioned as something that's super important. And as good lifers, we recognise the importance of these pollinators, and we're going to try and do everything we can to help provide food for them, because if they're in a good position, then they're going to be in a great position to help pollinate our vegetables and our fruits later on in the season. So this is what I want to try and get into the ground today, some of the nice flowers, and hopefully get these seeds ready so that they can go. We're in right at the beginning of May now, so hopefully in the next month or so we're really going to start to see an explosion of flowers. And you can probably hear in the background the birds are already out singing for spring, so spring is absolutely just here now, so we want to try and encourage that now. So without further ado, let's move on over to the pond area and see what we've got to plant. So this is the pond that we had when we come onto our allotment, and basically it's a large overgrown puddle. At the moment there's not a lot of wildlife around it. All of this weed control fabric that you can see over there, I've just pulled it up from around here, so I'm hoping now that we've actually got to see the earth a little bit, we can start rejuvenating it and bringing it back to life. So I'm going to start doing that, and you can follow along. I spent some time just kind of spreading a little bit of compost around. It's not the world's greatest compost, but I'm hoping that if we can spread some wildflowers on here and get some other flowers that we've actually grown onto here, then it will start to kind of actually come into bloom. I'm kind of sad that you're not going to see it come into bloom in this video, but hopefully I can kind of keep you updated with the progress. So that's pretty much all of the flowers that I've got growing from seed at the moment. I am going to obviously put on our wildflower mix here, and my lovely friend at the allotment gave me some bulbs. So we've got lots of bulbs. These are gladiolas, ranunculus, hollandaceae, I don't know how you say that one, I've got to say. What else have we got? Oh, we've got something that's just gone in there. Mixed somethings, don't know what they are. We'll pop one in there though. Sparaxis, I don't know how you say that either. And freesias. So these, the bees and the butterflies and the pollinators will absolutely love. So I'm going to go and plant a load of these in. As you can probably tell, I'm doing it very, very randomly. So for anyone who is really into making sure their plants and flowers look really organised, that's not us, is it? And that is it. My nice garden is as planted as possible. I think you're supposed to rake in the wildflower bits and pieces, but I'm not going to do that, I can't be bothered. And it's really cold, so I'm going to go home. But yeah, hopefully this is going to start blooming. It's going to grow really nicely. We've got lots of different stuff in there. We've got some cornflowers. I haven't put the cosmos in yet because they look like they need a little bit more strength before they go in. There's some pansies, nasturtiums, and there's the new plants that I bought, as well as the wildflowers. So hopefully we should get a nice blooming pond in a few months' time, and I will obviously hopefully bring you back to see it as well. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. It's been lovely to have you along. If you like what you see, don't forget to drop us a like or maybe a comment in the comment section, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.